Lanier, entrepreneur dentist, and I'm here today. I want to tell you about the simplest success model you're ever going to hear. Ever, I'm telling you. So listen, we're going to take it part by part, but I want to ask you this question. What is it that with it you thrive, without it you barely survive? I'm going to give it to you, and you want to hear this. But think about this. No patience, no practice. That should give you a thought right there. No patience, no practice, correct? Think about it. So let me share this one thing that's going to make or break your practice. And I want to share more on Saturday, 9 o'clock a.m. on Saturday. I want you to be there. We're going to do a live session. So I'll send you the webinar link later in the program. But what I want to do is tell you about the simple, easy 3-yet-1 principle. And that comes from the Bible, 3-yet-1. The whole universe works this way. So a lot of people tend to complexify things and make it really complex. And we buy into it because we're conditioned from the time we're young that things are a certain way, but they really aren't. Not if you really challenge them and you find out that it's very simple. And I'll show you. If we use this is 3-yet-1, but think about this, 3M, money, management, and marketing. But the two, money and management, are riding on the back of marketing. Think about it. Like I said now, no practice, no patience, no practice. No patience, no practice. So you got to have patience. And how are you going to have patience unless you're marketing? And how are you going to market unless you have a marketing mindset? And then you have to really transfer that whole mindset to your staff and everybody. So you have to have a way of transferring and constantly bringing everybody to the understanding that marketing is not a thing we do. Marketing is everything that we do. So it's all about a marketing mindset. Once and it's hard to buy into, because most of the time when I've had people come to work and they always think that marketing is a department. So there are a few things that they're willing to learn as far as customer service, but as far as being a marketing person and having the whole marketing mindset, it is very, very hard to get people to understand that. That's because either you're always selling, either you're selling a product or a service. And if you're selling a service, you're a servant. And that's one, especially if you're a doctor, you say, see yourself as a servant. They was like, that shit, I'm not a servant. I'm up here. I'm a king. I'm not a servant. But if you're serving and you want to have more, you want to service more people, then the servicing mindset, you see yourself as a servant. Even, throughout the Bible, Yahweh refers to the Messiah as the good servant. So if he's the good servant, then you will want to be like him. You want to be a servant and be a good servant. And that's who people are willing to refer, because in business, it's basically a referral kind of thing, whether it's now is reviews and stars and likes and so forth. But in life, if somebody is going to refer you to some place that they've been, then the whole marketing is a way that you do it. Marketing is everything you do, because you think about the way a place looks, the consistency. If you're going back somewhere a few nights ago, my wife and I went somewhere, and the food wasn't consistent. They had changed, I guess, the new chef or something, but it was totally different. So you want to be consistent. You want, any place, you want it clean. You want it to be memorable. So it's the experience that you're going to have, but you're not going to have that just by luck. That comes from training and understanding that everybody has to go through and learning marketing, because everything rides on it. If you don't have marketing, you don't have a need for management. You don't really have a need for staff. Now you have a facility that's sitting there, and, you have fixed fixed costs and now your variable costs, if you have all of these other things that are there and you don't have something going on, you don't have either customers or patients, so you're dead in the water. Either you have marketing or you're afraid, and you should be. If you don't understand marketing, you shouldn't be out there even trying. And then a lot of times I have doctors or people that come to work. I've had a doctor or two that would say, "Oh, Dr. Lanier, you have personality with the patients and so forth. And I just don't have that." And I'm thinking, well, damn, you don't have the ability to communicate and sell yourself. And then we can train staff, so forth, and give them scripts and have them rehearse and filter whom we have. But if you are the doctor and the only thing you're coming in to do is stab and slab and drill and fill, then you're really doing the things that people don't like. And then if you don't have a personality, you're trying to run up production and you're running people away. And that's something that you have to come to an understanding. It's about building. And if you're building, even another thing, I'm just throwing this out here with doctors, sometimes wanting to be, especially if we schedule two doctors working together and we're seeing pediatrics, and one doctor wants to be the only one so that he or she can stack the schedule and see a lot of patients, but you're making them wait. The number one complaint in dental offices is the wait time. So why would you do something that is counterintuitive and counterproductive by saying, I want to make people wait? Because it's all about me. And the thing that we have to do is reverse that. It's all about them. And then even trying to work together as a team and helping other doctors and build. That's why I encourage ownership, is so that you understand that you get paid on profits. And now you share with the other person because you have shares in the company and each one teach one. It becomes, rather than always competition, we can work with co-opetition. I'm telling you, this is something that I've been thinking about for umpteen years. And it allowed me to see that I needed to understand like org charts and why you have to have structure. Because if you have that, it's easy for anyone to understand. If you have org charts and you operate by that, then you have systems. And systems are the solution. If you don't have systems, then you have no structure, and now you're operating by chaos. There used to be a TV show called Get Smart. Dun, 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 dun. But anyway, it was chaos and control. Control, I guess, was the CIA, and chaos was the KGB. But anyway, it was pretty much chaos was always out of control. And control, of course, is in control. And if you're going to have control, it's all about organization. And you don't need necessarily people. And this is something that we'll learn about later about the org charts. I'm telling you, it's beautiful. And I have a lot, and it drills down. It's a whole class in and of itself. But in marketing, like I said, marketing, you have is a department that reports to the CEO. And then, it's on the same plane like with management and money, but it's carrying them on its back. And a lot of times people don't really understand that, because if the marketing can't permeate the whole organization and understand it's a mindset, and everybody's doing it. So marketing is a department, but it's also the mindset. And that's what we really want to talk about, is the mindset. So marketing mindset at the bottom is carrying everything. It carries the money, the management, the staff, anything and everything. Because if you have a constant flow of new patients, that's life. You can have, and I know this because it happened to me. I was having a constant flow of new patients. I was growing, like my first kids' dental care office, and the bank actually called me to ask if my office manager, or actually front desk, had been allowed to start a checking account with my name and her name, and she was depositing checks in the account, because her cousin worked in the bank and they had set up some account, but they were depositing my checks, but I didn't even know it was missing, Back this was, 20, no, God, longer than that anyway, a long time, 25 to 30 years ago. But it was about $13,000, but I hadn't even missed it. You know, she was embezzling, but I didn't miss it because I was so busy and we were making so much money. So, but if you have a constant flow of new patients, you got life. It just keeps brimming and like new seed, new life. But without a predictable flow of new patients, you're dead and you're scared. And you should be, because you know that that's the lifeblood. So marketing is a mindset. And then the mindset changes everything. If you have a marketing mindset, but you have to be able to see yourself as a servant. See yourself as a servant. That's a game changer. A good servant, like the Messiah. You gotta think of yourself as a good servant. And even I remember reading the book, Why Should White Guys Have All of the Fun? Reginald Lewis. But in there, he talked about interacting with Michael Milken. And Milken was a facilitator, but Milken made a whole lot of money. But he said, I just see myself as a servant. I'm a well-paid servant. If you're a good servant, you should be well-paid, you know, and that's the way I kind of see myself, a servant and a facilitator. So you know, along the way, I have been well paid, you know, just for doing the things that I enjoy doing. So I know people have a fear of doing things and getting out there, fear of the unknown, and it's a cause this fear of failure. It causes this fear of failure because you don't know, and when it's unknown and you're going out and doing things that you don't know, and you don't know how to do marketing, you don't know really a lot of setup, then you're going to have some failures. But a lot of them are the experiences that you need to move to that next level. So you actually have to have this mindset of you're just passing through. You know, you're passing through and you're learning the game, you're playing the game. If you hold it too tight, you know, it's too much anxiety and so forth. Action cures fears. Now, when you're having action, sometimes you will, you know, you're not going to score, you know, every time you shoot or take a shot at something, but you learn from it. So, let me pause 1 second. Let me ask you, can you do me a huge favor? Hit the like button for the video, subscribe, and share. Now, I'm going to ask you to do this. Share with 7 of your friends, because 7 is the number of perfection. Just share with 7 friends. Think about it first. Who is the friend? You know, somebody that can benefit from what I'm sharing with you. Just share this with them. And leave a comment. And if you have any questions, you know, leave a comment or question, whatever. But I want you to sign up for this 12-week Mastermind class and Saturday, every other Saturday, I'm doing a live. I'm going to post a recorded video every other alternating Saturdays. But this Saturday, we will be doing the live. So I want you to be there for that. I want you to be in Vegas at the end of this 12-week Mastermind class for a full day of just entrepreneurial training. And I want to, between myself and the Entrepreneur Dentist Advisors, we want to issue you a certification, a certificate as an entrepreneur dentist. That's a freedom mindset. Once you accept, but you actually have to declare yourself to be entrepreneurial. And then you're doing the things. I believe in this be, do, have. So first you got to become. And then once you become that, because I declare myself an entrepreneur dentist, so then I started doing the things that an entrepreneur would do. I was already a dentist, I had a license, but actually I was an entrepreneur before I became a dentist. I already had the mindset, and I wanted to do dentistry to transfer it and become an entrepreneur dentist. And I think you can do the same thing if you want to, but you have to start thinking. And a lot of it entails some business, but it's not a lot. Like I said, it's 3 things. It's money and management, sitting on top of marketing. Marketing has to be the backbone, so you're going to ride through that. So, and this is true whether it's clinical or business. If you're afraid and you don't know, then you need to prepare yourself. So I want to help you get prepared with that. And I always preach to my kids the 6 P's: proper preparation and planning prevents poor performance. So if you properly prepare, humble yourself and go and learn something really well. And if you know that only thing that you really learned was clinical, and sometimes the clinical we still didn't get a lot of experience. A lot of people went through COVID and so forth in school, and didn't really get that a lot of times to work with patients. So sometimes I'm telling you, if you're young, you come out of school, don't just rush and just money, 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 because a lot of times you're really not earning enough to really cover the expenses. You just you think you're really doing a lot, but you're not. So you're kind of in that learning phase. I'd say pick your lane, stay in your lane, learn something, and keep studying on that and improve. Especially if you're a generalist. If you're a specialist, then learn more about whatever it is, especially, and get more experience. At the same time, be learning, about business and understanding, because you can't walk around with your head in the sand and then thinking that you can handle some kind of business interactions and negotiations and a lot, and with these DSOs and what is the end game and who's making the money and where is it going and what's going to happen. You need to learn these things. So be willing, pick a lane, stay in your lane, shadow, study, improve, then improve some more, learn, educate, associate, and motivate. Motivate yourself, motivate other people, and network. That's why I want to bring you to to Vegas, an entrepreneur, dentist, that 12-week mastermind, so that we can network. Like they say, eagles don't flock with other birds. You only see eagles anytime that they're flocking is when there's a lot of food and it's only eagles here. But the other thing I want to talk about later is co-opetition, working together as a team. And that's what we're going to do with our whole networking is co-opetition. So what I want you to think about is self-development. Having a self-development mindset. You're going to develop yourself, and you're going to put some time and some effort and some money into you as self-development beyond just dental school and clinical. You got to put something, especially if you want to learn finance and economics and so forth. I think from an entrepreneurial standpoint, and I'm going to tell you this, I had someone recently ask me, should I go and do a master's program, an MBA? I don't think so. I think that there's enough you can learn. And I did the executive MBA, but even, I found some of that very helpful, but some of that was still veering a little bit because I know what I want. If you know what you want, then you don't need a lot of extraneous stuff. You need to stay in the lane and learn. And from people like myself and others, that have been there and that are doing and are willing to share, because not everyone is willing to share. I'm telling you this. I know because I've been there. A friend of mine used to say, Lanier, they want to cuff the knowledge. A hell of a lot of people out there willing to cuff the knowledge. So you got to be willing to take some action. Don't have this analysis paralysis and you're just analyzing every damn thing and you never really take action. Action cures fears. You got to take action, and then you get past the fear. Once you've done it one time, you jump off the high diving board, and then you're like, damn, I actually did it. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Or you ride a particular, what do you call them? The the thing that has the double loop or whatever, and you do it once. At the first time, you're scared as hell, but after a while, you finally get past the fear. So you got to get some experience. But, like I said, marketing. With this, you thrive. Without it, you barely survive. And because you have no patience, you have no practice. There used to be that thing, what do you call a teacher without any students? No class. She has no class. And that's the thing with, what do you call it? Dentist without any patience. I call it watching, they're going to be scrolling. You call it a scroller because there's nothing else to do. You're just sitting there scrolling. You don't have anything going on. So let's get it going on. Let's learn some stuff like this. I'm telling you, I'm excited. So join us on Saturday at 9. And also join us at the Las Vegas Mastermind. And for any of this, just go to the website, entrepreneurdentist.com. I do have a Substack I want you to subscribe to, because that way you're getting the newsletter at, I think it's, it's entrepreneurdentist.substack.com. Go to entrepreneurdentist.com and you'll find all of that. I expect to see you on Saturdays. Invite your friends. And I also want to be there to hand you the certificate in Las Vegas on May Day, May 1st, 2026. See you there.